Thanks for staying tuned. That's still iBrand Daybreak. Now it's time to keep you abreast with what's happening when it comes to the world of sports. And it's all about the UEFA Champions League action we saw last night as Liverpool overcame Benfica by 3-1, taking a 2-goal advantage into the second leg. Goals from Ibrahim Konate, a powerful header. You had Sadio Mane getting the second goal and Luis Diaz scoring the third goal on his return to Portugal to ensure that Liverpool take a 2-goal lead into the second leg, having 1 foot into the semi-final of the UEFA Champions League. And for Liverpool, the quadruple bid continues. Remember, no English team in the history of football has won the quadruple. That's the Carabao Cup, also known as the EFL Cup, the FA Cup, the Premier League title, and the UEFA Champions League title in one season. So Liverpool are still in the hunt for that, having won the Carabao Cup against Chelsea, and they're into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Now have a foot in the semi-final of the UEFA Champions League and are just a point behind Manchester City in the race for the Premier League title this season. For Jurgen Klopp's men, it was a dominant performance as Sadio Mane, Diaz, as well as Konate got the goals for them. More importantly, they were also able to prevent Benfica from scoring more than 1 goal. So Liverpool going to the second leg at Anfield next week, and they will be looking to seal their place in the semi-final. For Jurgen Klopp's men, it is a perfect way to start the weekend, especially as they head back to England and travel all the way to Manchester to take on Manchester City over the weekend during the Premier League title race, which will probably be the title decider. Still talking about UEFA Champions League action we saw last night, you had Manchester City, I beg your pardon, still in action as well. And they were in action against Atletico Madrid, the conquerors of their neighbors, Manchester United. It was a match that took place at the Etihad Stadium, and it was Kevin De Bruyne who scored the only goal of the game, 1-0, that ended in favor of Manchester City as they were able to edge Diego Simeone's men. It was a match that was really cagey, and if you want to put it as dirty, it had everything that had to do with Diego Simeone's men in terms of crunchy tackles, dirty plays, and more importantly, players coming up to heated battles in terms of physical intensity. But the Bruyne strike gives City the edge going into the second leg, which will take place at the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium in Spain, where Atletico Madrid will be looking to bank on home front to be able to turn the tide around. For Manchester City, it wasn't the fluid flowing performance of football that we see from them in terms of the sleek tiki-taka style of play, but they were still able to get the job done, and they will be hoping that this gives them momentum into the title decider over the weekend when they host Liverpool at the same Etihad Stadium. For Atletico Madrid, they'll be banking on João Felix to get it done again. They had their chances, though far and wide, but it's deserving for Manchester City to get the win last night. And then finally, in the world of sports, we'll be talking about the Russian-Ukrainian war, which is ongoing, and the effect it has on sports. This time around in the world of tennis, it's about Wimbledon, the 3rd Grand Slam of the year, the only Grand Slam on grass, it must be said. They're still mulling. The organizers are mulling if they will issue a ban to Russian and Belarusian athletes as a result of the ongoing war in Ukraine. Remember, the UK is one of the top countries in the world, alongside the United States, who have taken tough stances against Russian and Belarusian personnel, officials, and what have you in terms of sanctions. And this has also trickled down to sports, with organizers mulling over a ban of Russian and Belarusian players from participating at this year's Wimbledon Grand Slam. Now, if that happens, it means that world number 2, Dani Medvedev, who is on your screen right about now, will not be participating at this year's Wimbledon, and that will definitely affect his rankings as it will see him plummet down the standings. When it also comes to the women's category, you also have the likes of Victoria Azarenka, who is Belarusian. You also have Sabalenka, who would be affected should the ban get into place. Not forgetting Andrei Rublev, who is also a Russian. So the players will be hoping that they are given the privilege to at least participate as neutrals, but it's yet to be seen if that would happen. I'm sure in the coming days we'll have clarity regarding that. And that's about it in the world of sports. Joining us right now is Perpetua Fasomi Peter to talk about social media buzz, what's buzzing, and how Nigerians are definitely reacting to it. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good to be on the show with you. You look absolutely beautiful
You
this
look
morning.
stunning
And I
too.
like your hair.
Thank you.
I
Wow.
like it.
You look good yourself.
Thank you, as always.
Oh.
Okay, so let's get into the world of social media. Thanks for joining us on Social Media Buzz. I am Perpetua Fasomi Peter. We start from the House of Representatives. Mahmouda, a member of the House of Representatives, has introduced a bill to prohibit cross-dressing in Nigeria. The bill, which was read on the floor of the House on Tuesday, seeks to ban cross-dressing with the exemption of those using it for entertainment. The bill seeks to amend the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act of 2013 by including cross-dressing as one of the offenses under the Act. A person engaging in cross-dressing is guilty of an offense and liable to imprisonment of 6 months or to a fine of 500,000 naira. You heard that right, but very quickly, let's check out what Nigerians are saying. We'll start with Bobrisky. I mean, it's so good to see that that's the first reaction we are taking.
Exactly.
And then Bobrisky says, the good thing about this bill is that, number one, it will finally solve Nigeria's insecurity challenges. Number two, it will improve power supply. Number three, it will end ASU strike. Number four, it will repair the negative impression foreigners have about Nigeria. Number five, it will cause the reduction in prices of items in the market. Be fast, please. And then we have Joy Ubeku. I feel like going on to react immediately, but I'll be patient. Let's go to Joy Ubeku. Joy Ubeku says, when they say pass bill to stop their children from studying abroad, that bill was rejected. And cross-dressing is their problem. All right, and moving away from that one, this is at Abdurrashid24. At Abdurrashid24 saying, government no, you see, and so, not, when I never tackle insecurity, poor infrastructure, epileptic power supply, dwindling economy, poor education, make I laugh for Ebira. And I think this will be the last one I will take. This is from Daniel Reha. Daniel Reha says, Bobrisky and his colleagues are the least of Nigeria's problems. Government should learn to get their priorities straight. The nation is in utter chaos. House of Representatives should focus on passing a bill that declares full-scale war against terrorists. Tackling this problem is very important. I think I'll stop it here. So, yeah, you want to go first?
Oh, well. The reactions from social media is just personally, I'm very indifferent about cross-dressing. Okay. I do not have a personal problem with cross-dressers. I don't know. I don't think I have an issue with, I don't know, but I feel like it's misplaced priority. Now, parting the bill, if we have a perfect system of governance, if we have perfect security, everything is working, you can now decide to pass a bill. But then we just had drone attacks. Aside that's not enough, we have unemployment. The news is saying that 3,000 alleged ghost workers in government parastatals. We have these issues: unemployment, insecurity, board drainage system, hike in food supply. And what your problem really is cross-dressers. Wow, that should be amazing leadership there, I must say.
Well, I like the way Nigerians have reacted to it. Okay. You know, starting from Bobrisky,
he was sarcastic.
It was sarcastic all through the way.
That's epic.
But you could easily tell that it was, you know, listing the problems that were, or the challenges we're facing and how they should be prioritized more than, you know, the issue of cross-dressing, issues of ASU strike, talked about epileptic power supply, among other things. And I like that, really. When you look at the cultural side, if you want to delve towards culture, you'd say that, okay, culturally, we are not, our culture doesn't support same-sex marriage and all of that.
But
again,
that's not what we're talking about.
Exactly. You
that's
know,
not up for debate.
Yes.
That's not up for debate. But I'm sure whoever raised the bill, the Honorable, did that on the basis of the cultural aspect,
into,
you know, into the same-sex bill and all of that. Basically, it's an assault or an affront against the LGBTQ community, which is not yet accepted here, either in our constitution or even culturally or socially. So you have to look at where the Honorable is coming from. That's where it's coming from. Although that's also a bill that will probably even if it sees the light of everything in terms of getting into law, it's something that the people will still fight about. I think over the last 3-4 years, we've had more members of the LGBT community here in Nigeria becoming more emboldened to, you know, own their identities and their sexual ideologies and all of that. But that's an aside. Now, when you look at what we are facing as a nation, probably security is the, you know, the utmost concern at this time. There should be bills, you know, to put in place, be it, you know, debates regards state policing or whatever it is. Those are issues that Nigerians want, you know, the House of Representatives to debate, not issues of cross-dressing. And that's why the various comments you got were about those issues, those challenges, and not the cultural aspect of things.
Well, I remember you said something about even if the bill sees the light of the day, I do not think that bill will see the light of the day.
Yeah.
Going by the fact that, I mean, before a bill is being passed into law, it goes through processes.
Right.
So I don't want to believe that the CSOs, Nigerians, and all of that will keep quiet and allow this particular
Same-sex bill went into law.
No, this is
but when you talk about same-sex, of course, so many people, this is Nigeria. Culturally, there are certain things we don't want.
Culturally, that those would also tell you that cross-dressing too is
that's what
within
we're saying.
that
You can't put them on the same pedestal. Cross-dressing is different from same-sex marriage.
That's two
different things.
I'm not
cross-dressing.
disputing.
I mean, I could decide to. We have tomboys, and nobody's talking about them.
Talk about that.
That's not a problem.
I'm not
Nobody
disputing
has a
or
problem
debating
with
that.
that.
What I'm saying is he came from the cultural aspect. That's why he even initiated the bill in the first place. You can be rest assured that those who probably still buy into his idea in the house.
Of course, they will.
Now, what I'm saying is, even if it gets into law,
It won't.
well, if it's a big if,
fit the fact that
even
the
if it
priorities are
gets into
misplaced
law,
to start
what
with.
you would have is you still have Nigerians come out more, especially those who are of that community or those who are affected. As I said, the same-sex bill came into law for how many years now? Talks of 14 years imprisonment and all of that. Has that stopped gays and lesbians from coming out? No. So it's what it is. You have people who are members of these communities or who are affected.
Well, you're
in
saying
one
they
way or the
might
other,
want to
they'll
influence
come up.
things and all of that.
Yes.
You were going to say something.
Well, what I said was all of this doesn't beat the fact that, or play down the fact that priorities at this time, they are misplaced. We just saw the sarcastic comment from Bobrisky, and it makes sense, really. That's not the problem of Nigeria. If we had sorted everything out, then we now have the right to talk about some trivial issues, because whether we like it or yes, compared to the issues we are facing in this country, cross-dressing is very trivial. It's not part of
What
our
would have
problem.
even wondered? What was it thinking? Where did that come from?
Well, and then he said
Cultural.
that when they passed the bill to stop their children from going abroad to school, they all rejected it. So what are you talking about? If you pass a bill that they should cut down on the allowance, the paper allowance, the handkerchief allowance, they would reject it. So why are you bringing up? Let's sort our issues further. We can now have the audacity to talk about cross-dressing.
Anyway, I think there's another comment here. This says, apparently, jailing Bobrisky, Derely, and James Brown is the solution to insecurity, unemployment, high cost of living, and excessive borrowing in Nigeria. I never knew. Wow.
Sarcasm again.
Exactly. And then let me shock you. We have this person at Complex Cola. At Complex Cola says, it is about time. It's long overdue. Some men are now taking hormone therapies in Nigeria, and nothing is being done about that. So this is one person that supports the bill.
Out of many.
As I said, again, it's just from the cultural standpoint that this is not who we are as a people. Who are not, people who embrace things like LGBTQ or cross-dressing and all of that. But
really, cross-dressing, is it really about LGBTQ?
Well, no, those who tell you that's where it starts
That's where
from.
it starts
That's
from,
the
yeah.
subtle form. That cross-dressing is the subtle form for you to
People
now become
cross-dress
a
for fun,
transgender.
for crying out
No,
loud.
no,
Yeah,
that's
people
why the
cross-dress
bill,
for fun, so I'm wondering.
that's why the bill, neglected those who do it for entertainment.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
Your
fine.
comedians who are
That's
probably
it.
trying to satirize and all of that.
That's
But
it.
here's what I think. I think it's just the cultural notion that transgenders, for example, or your LGBTQ members, that they start from cross-dressing. That's what brings about the ideology and all of that. Again, is that the utmost concern in terms of our challenges? No. But having said all of that, it also shines the light on the notion of freedom. Freedom as a concept is ambiguous. We need to understand that, and there would always be debates back and forth. It's still on the basis of freedom. You have debates regarding abortion in terms of rights, for abortion. Should it be allowed or not, and all of that. Now, there will be those who come from the religious aspect.
It's not just
There will
about
be
the
those who
religious
come
aspect.
from-
There is the part that life. I mean, that's a life.
Again, you're
That
saying
fetus is a life.
Well,
That-
if
now that
if
those
you
will
call it a
also tell you
fetus,
that
that
the-
means it's 3 months and above.
No,
At
wait,
some
chill, that those-
4 months and above. From
Pep,
when
Pep,
it's
Pep,
still
Pep.
what's it called? What did you call it?
That
The
those
blood
would also-
flowing. You can't call it a
Pep,
fetus.
that those would also
That's my
tell you
take.
that the mother, or the mother in the situation
Has
now
the right.
also has the right to make healthcare choices for herself.
If it's a medical condition that necessitates it, I don't
Again,
have a problem with it.
again.
But if you willingly walk into something and you're not ready to take responsibility for something you have walked into, then the problem is with you, not with the innocent baby.
The thing is
I'll move on to the next story.
this.
I'll give you 2 seconds.
It is ambiguous,
One,
and
two.
you definitely have debates back and forth. As I said, it just highlights how ambiguous the notion of freedom is. That people have the right to choose their own healthcare themselves.
Something has spoken. Well, we'll talk about it later. I know you say that.
All right, and moving on to the second question. I said question. The second story. Damilola Olakomi, a Nigerian law student based in East London, the United Kingdom, has died after eating the cannabis sweet she bought via a messaging app on her phone. Olakomi, 23 years old, immediately fell ill after taking the sweets on March 29 and had to be rushed in a critical condition to a hospital in London via an air ambulance. The University of Hertfordshire undergraduate eventually died at a hospital on April 2 from complications from the intake of the substance. A US-based student and friend of Olakomi, who also took from the substance while on a visit to the deceased, fell ill, but was later discharged by doctors after responding well to treatment. And then, according to Richard Taylor, a justice campaigner and friend of Wumi, that's the mother of the deceased, the late law student was an only child. And now we'll take the reactions from Nigerians. First, we have the picture of the mom and daughter. Well, the daughter was still in the hospital. We have that picture there. This is very emotional one. I'm sure at this time the mom probably didn't know she was going to lose her. Maybe she knew, maybe she didn't know. But that's a very, very emotional picture. And then moving on to the reactions we have at ABJ_Afrik saying, "Such a young girl. I feel for her mom. I do too." And then we have at Lessery saying, "Sad. May the Lord comfort her mom, beg your pardon." And then we have Towo_Montana saying, "Rest in peace. When you tell people you don't do stuff like this, you will appear as pick me or forming good girl. Dear young ladies, it's not everything you explore." We have Foodie That Cooks saying, "There is nothing fun about doing drugs. I really wish a lot of people, especially young people, will learn to define fun for themselves and not succumb to societal pressure." This is emotional for me, really.
I can see that. It's obvious. I think the last person that the last comment probably made sense. There's always the need to define the parameters, to define what forms the basis of your choices. It shouldn't be on the basis of societal dictates or pressure or expectations. Having said that, I think it's an unfortunate thing what happened. And it's not new too. We've seen these things over time. You have cannabis mixed in baking of cakes or candies and what have you. Some folks even add it to their noodles. In preparing noodles, you have marijuana and all those things mixed up just to get them high, and they think that's probably it means to probably get them off whatever it is they're going through and then make them feel good about themselves. But again, drugs, alcohol, and all of that, when you turn to them when you're battling with issues, the solace you get is just, for a short while. Because when you now come down from that high, the issues are still there, you're back to them. So it is what it is. I hope that, there will be those who learn from this. The only unfortunate thing is you hardly see people learn from it. We've seen several videos of those who take drugs, and they stumble, find themselves in the muddy waters of drainages and what have you. And you still see another video. It doesn't stop people. You see another video next week. You see another video next day. So I really hope that this would also touch the hearts of one or two people to
maybe
stop
people
it.
who haven't started yet.
Who haven't started or who have started to probably stop the act itself. I know those who use it for medical purposes, talking about cannabis. But if it's not medical,
if it's not by your doctor,
exactly, there's no point.
All right, you were going to say something.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, first of all, rest in peace, and to the family of Olakomi, we just hope that they have the fortitude to bear the loss. It's not easy losing a child, even though you have 10 children. Losing one would be painful, not to talk of an only child. The thing is, I agree with one of the statements from Montana and also Foodie That Cooks, when they mentioned that it's not everything you try as a young person. She mentioned young ladies, but generally young people. And also the fact that when you say, if they ask you, do you smoke? And you say, no, I don't smoke. They're like, Assistant Jesus. It's not Assistant Jesus thing. It's what is, so some people it's
That's
fun.
the pressure
But
for some
what is-
Societal pressure.
But what
yeah.
is the fun? You define what fun is to you. If it's detrimental to your health and the health of the next person, then it stops being fun. Because where your light stops, someone else's light starts.
And you
So,
can-
so
yes,
yeah.
sure.
So what I was just to wrap up. It's people should not succumb to societal pressure. It's not everything you try. Young people should desist from these things. These things kill. Like you can lose your mind. You can lose your.
Yes,
you could
brain
lose
damage.
everything. You could become a vegetable in few years, and then you're. Funny enough, when all of these things happen, you see people come back and they still want to take it. I'm like, what is so dear in this? The fact is, society shouldn't pressure you into doing what you don't want to do. That everybody thinks this cup is red. If I'm the one seeing white and it's actually really white, I'd rather stand by white, even if I'm the only one standing by that white.
Exactly.
So don't make people confuse you that this is red when you can say it's white, because come on, if you're not seeing red, you're not the big girl of the society or the big boy.
That's it.
Come on, please, your health is important. Your family needs you. We need you, and that's it.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I think it's a very good place to wrap up this
Exactly.
conversation. For me, I'll say that you don't have to do everything, really. Basically, there's what we call lifestyle choices. Whatever lifestyle choice you're making, ensure it's something that is not detrimental to your health and to the health of the people around you. Many thanks for staying with us on Social Media Boss. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter.
And that's a good place to say thank you for being on the show today. We appreciate you. Without you, there's no iBrandTV. Perpetua appreciates you. Something appreciates you.
Definitely.
We do appreciate you. So I'll leave you with a quote from Marcus John Bobak. And